Fane. Dallas told your
The divine. What a Lucian.
I underestimate.
respect.
Lucian's gate.
Lucian.
Yes.
Dallas, a scuff.
I am.
Aren't they just full of
Fear not.
I shall long ago.
Of course.
Silent our king for
With the source, this
during
ours.
the seven.
The seven. When we are done, there's
My people.
There.
I was a child when it was hell. The cruel joke. Fane. Yes. Fane. You are my father.
Dallas gives you.
Your Look at us! We are all that remains! But now I have revenge. Revenge on the Seven and the God King. Revenge for what they took from me. My life. My people. My mother!
The hammer's voice falters and her coolness vanishes. Every crack and rasp betrays her grief. But her next words burn not with sadness, but anger.
Did you even look for me? Did you even look for her?
Dallas control you. Dallas's reason.
Your action, you have but one path to. She didn't, and then I took.
While Dallas,
One more word from you.
I had to hide. As divine, I maggot.
With a flick of.
Don't.
Dallas punctuates her statement.
Yes, in it. To strengthen
The void. You see,
the eternal.
the void. A fault.
The plan is almost
We have made.
Decide.
There is no. We only.
As I say, good.
The world.
We all.
Another Alexander.
The task.
And-
then let's show some responsibility.
You'll be a hero. Everyone will know. I understand. Your sacrifice.
I'm sorry.
Lucian struggles to rise.
My time is done.
Dallas
I have failed.
After all that you have been through, and all that you have done, all that you have become, the Aeteran lies in front of you. Divinity is yours to take, or to sacrifice. What you do next, what shall you do with Divinity?
And so it ended. A tale that began with my own ill-fated attempt to rid the world of the Godwoken. Dallas the Hammer, the secret eternal, purged the Godwoken and used the Source to close the veil to the void. The world was saved. Statues in memory of the Godwoken who sacrificed their Source were erected all across Rivellon. They would never be forgotten. The half-demon Malady took pity on the soulless, god-woken silent monks and brought them to the Hall of Echoes. There, from the scraps of their souls that remained, she restored them to life. Sorcerers no more, they lived out the rest of their lives, freed of the burden of being the god-woken. Freed from the weight of the world. As for me, I was already free. And so were the others. The God-woken sacrifice severed the bond between the Sworn and the God King. To atone for my sins, I spent the rest of my days taking care of the sick and elderly, telling the story of the God-woken, that the world may never forget the greatest heroes Rivellon had ever known.
Malady stands
Ah, there you are. More than a sign. Where did I go wrong? How is so... Unfortunately for me, I've grown rather fond of you. Still, I'd expected quite a bit more. Never mind. I'll find another...
She fingers the mask covering her face.
We've come a long way together.
She looks you up.
I guess this will have to do. Take a moment while relax, enjoy. I certainly plan to do this. Oh, I don't know, around and about. Treat myself to some mead, a lover or 300. I'd say we've earned it. Perhaps our paths will cross again until we find out.
Well, well, look what the cat dragged in. A silent monk. To be fair, you are barely more powerful than one.
The flaming hatchling... It takes you a moment to realize the egg you've been carrying...
No more swords, no more powers. Don't worry, darling. I know you have plenty of other qualities. Reform my ways.
Her eyes flick down to your mouth. Her mouth meets yours and devours you with predatory abandon. Somewhere in the recesses of your mind, you think you hear her voice sigh, mine. But then the kiss ends.
Something to remember me by, darling. Who knows? A nice cottage someplace quiet from the Halley and I. A roaring fire and a feather bed. Maybe. Maybe. But a girl needs some fun, doesn't she?
Are you okay?
Losa looks at you intently, as though searching... Losa sings to... Beast spirit doesn't acknowledge...
Here, the wild cupboard can't hide you.
He pauses, then... Beast tilts his... A slight grin crosses the spirit's face.
I always thought that those who resorted to self-sacrifice were lacking in imagination. And I must admit, that was rather noble of you. A world without source is one I believe I shall enjoy this. That is the question, isn't it? How does one No, of course you wouldn't. I intend to seek them out.
The squirrel smiles. The purging that one...
Amazing, I'm still...
Aside from a...
Time has a way of changing. Lucian doesn't need me. I only did what I was meant to do.
Gareth shakes his...
Self-pity is as dangerous as any man I have battled. Alexander, I find a way to fit. I wasn't just content to lurk in Lucian's shadow. I was his shadow. Now I stand in the sun, and so I find out. My God...
just as much pleasure to speak to you as it does to be whole again. I will always be an ally to those. I am at the ready. Consider me to be a gift from Malady. My wood was splintered, but my spirit intact. It was a great feat, but given her skill, not a surprising one. I feel better than new.
You look out to the endless beyond, and with a start, you realize... At last, the world was at peace. The ancient Lizard Empire opened its gates. The houses disbanded, and the Empire adopted a pluralist quasi-democracy. Anyone could vote for whoever they pleased, as long as the House of Shadows approved. Justinia returned to her throne. Under her rule, the Dwarven kingdom prospered, until 2 years later, a jealous lover stabbed her in the heart with a mutton fork. Lucian made amends to the elves. He gave them lands and vast riches from the coffers of the old divine order. But the elves never forgave him. They would not trust humans again. And in a dark forest on the far side of a desert, well beyond the high seas, the Black Ring came together once more. The island of Fort Joy, the old redoute of the Source King Brachus Rex, was turned over to the people of Driftwood to use as they wished. They turned it into a holiday resort. Reaper's Coast prospered. The fisheries returned, and the fertile farmlands produced the greatest harvests the surviving farmers had ever seen. Blood Moon Island became particularly fecund, its soil producing the greatest crops. A particularly crimson-fleshed orange grown on the island became a delicacy across half the world. The black pits took fire. The oil there burns still. Driftwood became a centre of industry, trade and transport. Lohar became mayor, and Brayton Barnes grew rich until, after a public argument over import duties, Barnes died in an accident, buried under several tons of fish, and also stabbed in the back with a gutting knife. Your lizard lover finally returned to the ancient Lizard Empire, there to found the newest and most popular of all the houses, the House of Love. Lagan left his over-demanding wife and began a relationship with a local bard. In the spirit of loving generosity, he returned the ring to his now ex-wife. In a fit of rage, she threw it into the sea. You would never forget Dorothea's kiss. Dorothea herself left Driftwood for the ancient empire, ever in search of the perfect kiss. She never found it, although once or twice she came close. The nameless isle had vanished. Although only open water remained, by instinct ships would steer clear. None of the captains could articulate why. Sir Gareth thanked the surviving Seekers for their service and gave them their freedom. Disillusioned with peace, he set out alone to find a new purpose. He would never stop seeking. Young Han went into the theatre and became one of the realm's most popular actors. Almira and Mihaly settled down on the farm. the locals liked and respected Almira. She never wanted for help, and deals always fell to her favor. She presumed she had them in thrall. The truth was, they just liked her. With no new divine, Malady found herself in a predicament. She had an important problem to solve, but no ally strong enough to call upon, and so her search continued. Having performed the greatest act of necromancy in history, Tarquin found the new world unchallenging. He became obsessed with rumors of another plane of existence. One day he vanished and was never seen again. Ahu the wizard became one of Lucian's most trusted advisors once more. He always knew that something had changed in the divine. He never discovered what that was, or, if he did, he never said a word. With Amadia silent, the priestess Gratiana left the swamps and re-entered the world. She founded an abbey in the Dragonspine Mountains, offering the last of the undead shelter from fortune hunters, novelty seekers, and ghouls. Jehan the demon hunter found himself at a loose end, so he opened a museum of demonic artifacts. He made a fortune. With Lucian in power, Sahala took the elves away from the world. They grew strong once more amidst the trees of the regrown home forest. Some say her plans for revenge will bring about the end of days. Some say only Tova, her mother, holds her back. Lucian returned as divine, united the races, and became Lord Emperor of all Rivellon. Only Dallis knew that he was entirely powerless. Dallis and you. The Eternal, now known as Dallis, was a secret advisor to Lucian and to his successors. For eons she would walk in the world, and would outlive the peoples and all, and wander alone amongst the dying stars. And then there was you. In a world of peace, you could live forever. Your future was yours to decide. But you were a sorcerer no more. Did you accept your new status with gratitude, or did you rebel? Only you know the truth, you and one other. But of him you are free. The God King no longer calls your name. He no longer whispers your shame. Only you know if you atone for your sins.
sing for me. Come to me, the night is dark. Come to me, the night is long. Sing for me, I'll sing along. Sing for me, oh sing for me. Sway with me, we'll make them scream. Dance with me, we'll make them bleed. Sing for me, I'll sing along. Sing for me, oh sing for me.